How's it going, everybody? Savvier saying, what is good to all my Super Saiyan homies, here to bring you Dragon Ball Legends anime and manga content. If you enjoy the video and you want to see more stuff like this, make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. That being said, today we are looking at the boy, LF Kid Buu, but we're not looking at him on just any old ordinary team. No, we are looking at him on the full Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super villain team. Can we get a thumbs up for the boys? These are the 6 main antagonists of the Dragon Ball series. We have Frieza, the OG. We have Cell, the perfect life form. We have the unhinged Kid Buu. We have the immortal Zamasu. And we have the strongest mortal, Jiren the Grey. And then we got the boy Broly in the back. But he's just there because, you know, we love the boy Broly. He's there because he's my son. And I love him dearly. And he's a great bench buffer. So why not? So yeah, that being said, this is going to be a post-commentary video. I wanted to originally do a discussion video as well as a showcase for this team, but I know that my discussion videos don't normally get a lot of watches, so I decided to do this after having what will be the first match of the video. It was a pretty frustrating match. I decided I wanted to keep the match, but I didn't want to keep the commentary, so we scrapped the commentary and we've made it all into one big discussion video. So the first match, there is no, whatchamacallit, there's no sound from the game in there, but there is going to be music, obviously, and there will be the post-commentary, but after that, the in-game sounds will be back for the other 3 matches. So yeah, we're going to talk about the team in the video, as well as the new game mode, and all the stuff that we found out in video and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking, and I'll see you guys in a second. So we're up against a pretty solid Android team, and I would hazard a guess that this is a free-to-play Android team based on what it is, but it just was one of those matches that didn't quite start off my way, and I had been really botching a lot of cover changes up until then. I'd figured, you know, it's 18, so she probably had a strike in there somewhere. She's probably going to go for a strike, but I was incorrect because that is just a misplay in my book, because in reality, her as well as Cell, you've got blasts and everything, so, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, so talking about the team, kind of going into it, I think this team is really, really underrated. Truth be told, I will say, after playing a lot of matches with this Kid Buu, as well as as well as the Frieza, I think I can safely say I like Kid Buu, but I think I like him better on regen. I think he kind of needs to be run alongside DKP as well as the Fat Buu. I just think they're better options for him than Jiren or Frieza, as well as I just love Broly. Broly is my favorite unit. I think I've said it time and time again at this point. I really enjoy him. I think he's a phenomenal unit. I understand that he's pretty feast or famine for a lot of people. But I think he puts in the work just fine. This is another example of me botching cover changes, and it's kind of just a miracle at this point with type advantage. And at this point, I'm just kind of really messing around, doing some pretty bad swaps. And this is going to leave Buu, our showcase unit, just wide open to be getting rushed. So it is how it is. It goes how it goes. I go for the blast art. Just figuring it's 21. You know, she probably used all her strikes and whatnot. So yeah, it ends up paying off for us, and we're able to do all right with the Buu. 21's blue card is not the best, so we're able to take advantage of this, and we're able to take her out, take the Cell out, at least the first life, because this way, you know, we've got the 2 blasts, we've got the main, and it's going to fire off. Now, the one thing I will say is I kind of wish I had some other card. It's unfortunate that the 2 blasts from Kid Buu wasn't enough to get rid of that first life for Cell. And this is an 8-star Cell, so I mean, it's not like it's an unrespectable star rate or anything like that. This is something I will say, though, right there, that exchange is probably my one criticism I have for Kid Buu. I like him a lot, but that green card, it's like, it's almost a slap in the face to not quite fully recover his vanish, you know. And like I get like good players can manage it really, really well, and that's not to say that I haven't had good management with it before, but I will say this: it is kind of a slap in the face, because it's again, you'll get a vanish off, you'll fire off a green card, and if you don't necessarily get the stop clock on it, it can actually work out in your opponent's favor, because they know that you're not quite at that vanish, and they can kind of just get aggressive. And so at this point, our exchanges have been going as they are. 21 is hanging on with a sliver of health, and as you guys will kind of start to notice in my gameplays, I'm really starting to get frustrated, is because it feels like I'm playing well, but my plays are getting somewhat outplayed, and I'm just not necessarily doing the damage I want to do, getting the combos in that I want. He's doing a really good job of spreading the damage between their units. Just like right there where they brought in the cell over the 18. At this point, I have no vanish. I could have swapped in to try and vanish, but instead I go for some type of charge, trying to bait out a blast armor, but he knows better considering that I don't have it, or that I don't have a vanish. And I was trying to bait the blast armor for a green, but this was a very smart play. At this point, we're finally able to take out 21 with a tap bait and some taps. But that's not to say that the battle is over, because at this point, Cell's looking pretty good, and we've got, nothing else going on. He times out a sidestep perfectly on me, gets in the backhand, and all of a sudden it's back to 2v2. We're back at even strength, and he's firing a second rush off, or they're firing a second rush off, which I gotta tell you, this right here is the main reason I decided to pull the commentary, because I was livid. I was screaming, I was cursing, I was just like, after everything we had been doing, the way they had been spreading out the damage, and the way the match had been going, it was like, I was just, I felt like I had been putting in work all match long just for them to get in a second rush when I wasn't necessarily putting in the damage I wanted on a team that was much lower star, or not much lower, but, significantly lower starred than mine was. Has Zenkai 3, 18, and that red cell was only 8 stars, whereas mine is 14. But here we're able to take out 18, and we're able to queue up another blue card, which actually ends up working out just fine. We're able to get him with a tackle. He does the defensive play of trying to move back, and it works out in our favor. So for this, we got a nice all EX team. I thought this was pretty cool. I felt it was kind of cool just to keep in the video, but it would also give me kind of a second to bring up the new game mode. I personally am very, very excited for this new game mode. I think it's going to be a really, really healthy mix of both Dokkan as well as Legends. For those who don't know, Toshi was a part of the Dokkan development crew at one point, so it is not the weirdest thing to kind of see the influence that we do from Dokkan, to see a little bit of an idle PvE mode. And I've seen some people say things along the lines of, Dokkan feels like a bit of a grind for not necessarily much reward. Now right there was a pretty good manage of Kid Buu's Vanish, and that's specifically what I'm talking about, is that if you can do it right, you get those taps in, maybe get a blast to hold the priority, it actually works out pretty well. You can keep him on the battlefield for quite a long time. Now granted, right there, it doesn't quite work out because this Vegeta has the ability to destroy main, but it's a pretty cool thing that you can do. But regardless, back to the new game mode, I think it's going to be a really healthy change for us going forward, just because, I think a lot of players are kind of getting sick and fed up with PvP, and truth be told, I can understand why. It's a very frustrating meta these days if you're not necessarily at least a light spender, because I'll be honest with you, I've faced teams that are just, just 6-7 stars, and that's just enough, that just getting that full, I guess, Z ability before getting the quote-unquote whaled Z ability. The one that, most people will have, that, like, I guess, double buff or the multiple tags. And then, getting anywhere between 7 to 9 stars is really good. Now, while that's somewhat respectable and manageable these days, I guess, for, light spenders, that kind of stinks for the people who are completely free to play and not necessarily have the ability to put in, a few extra dollars here and there when it comes to doing a multi. And that kind of sucks, especially because I know even for myself, who puts in a decent amount, there are even banners that, I barely even 3-star a unit just because it takes me forever to pull somebody. Like, for example, currently I only have Angel Vegeta at 3 stars because I used a multi-Z on him. That's it. But anywho, I think this new mode is going to be great for those people because it said it's going to be rewarding people who are using things that are different than what's usually going on. So you may not have, a 10, to 14 star copy of the new unit, that's rocking out PvP. But, let's say you take out your 10 to 14 star unit from year 1 that's yet to be Zenkai. That'll probably do you pretty good and get you some pretty decent rewards, because it seems like, it's not necessarily, you're not worrying about, I guess, misplays and whatnot. Like, you're just kind of strategizing when you go into it. And that's pretty cool to me, the fact that there's just leaving it so that you're doing this turn-based strategizing, and it gives you a second to think about it. And then, the AI will kind of deal with it from there. It leaves a little bit, I don't want to say less room for error, but it leaves a little bit more freedom for people to kind of relax and kind of, take a step back while playing Legends. I think that's really cool and really important, because this game is so unique, but it's so high-paced at the end of the day. Like, when I try to explain Legends to people, I tell them it's a real-time card game. It's like, I don't really know how else to describe it, So kind of giving it an auto chess mode, I think, is really, really cool. And ironically enough, I know they said that this is meant to be exclusively PvE, and it'll be pseudo PvP because the teams will be based off of teams that are floating around. But I would actually like to see... Now, granted, this might change once there's a new mode, but with it being a turn-based mode and everything like that, being one that you can kind of strategize outside in, I think it would be really, really cool to see a bit more of a tame PvP, I suppose, for lack of a better term. So like I said, I'm really excited for this mode. I think it's going to revitalize Legends quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I think this is going to be great for everybody. I think what's probably the most powerful part about this new game mode is that the rewards are going to essentially double out. And so if you're already a free-to-play player who's doing really well in high-ranked PvP and getting the rewards like the multi-Z and the slot removers and the equipment medals, this is going to put you in a really good position to double those and really kind of double your odds as a free-to-play player in doing well. Getting to 100 multi-Zs every week rather than getting just the 100 from PvP, or rather every 2 weeks when PvP ends the season, that's going to be great, because, rather than only being able to go up a full, star or 2 stars if you're going from 4 to 6 once every couple of months, I think the math ends up being 2 or 3 months. Now you can essentially do it in a month and a half. And that's pretty important for keeping, units relevant, because in reality, 3 months is a hard ask these days for a unit to stay relevant. And for people who don't necessarily have the ability to put in at least a little bit of light funding to try and get the newer units to 6 stars, this is going to be pretty important, I would say. The other thing that I think is going to be extremely powerful about this mode is it gives people something to do in Legends that isn't PvP. And now I know this sounds very, face value, but there's a lot more to it than you think. I think the biggest issue that Legends has is people are so willing to turn it off so easily because there's nothing really to do besides PvP. And there's so many issues in terms of lag, in terms of connection, in terms of matchmaking. If that's the case, a lot of people just choose to close out the game and maybe even go to something else like Dokkan. And I think that that's probably the biggest issue that keeps people, upset and frustrated with this game, is that if you're not playing PvP, you're not really doing much of anything. So giving this kind of pseudo PvP that people can kind of run to try and get through to the last boss, we're going to assume weekly or bi-weekly, that's, laid back, and they can make other content if they're a content creator, or they can just step away from PvP and still feel like they're getting rewards as a free-to-play player, and not feel like they're grinding through the same tedious story missions. I think this is great in terms of the health of the game. It gives people a reason to keep thinking about the game, to keep thinking about Legends, to keep playing the game, and not necessarily just put their phone down because they're frustrated with lag or with any of the above. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the new game mode. Let me know what you guys think down below. Are you guys excited for this? I think it's safe to say most everybody's excited. I'm also really excited for the new Broly, just because I think it's really cool that we are getting a health buffer for powerful opponent. As you guys can see from my last few weeks worth of videos, I really like this team. As you guys have seen, if you follow me on Instagram in my bio, this is one of my main teams, so I love that we're seeing love for it. I just find it really cool that we have a villain team. As well, shout out to this guy for putting up a phenomenal 1v3 fight. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.